Hey, what's up guys? This is Oakley. We're going to be doing a large naval battle from Napoleon Total War. I don't bring you guys these very often, but when I do find a good one, I like to share it with you guys. And this one is particularly fun because we were able to play, even though it is a 1 versus 1, we all had huge funds. And so it's going to be myself manning the French fleet, fighting against the Spanish fleet here. Now let's go ahead and go over my builds. I'm already getting some preliminary shots off. Now I am out of range, but you can manually fire some of your guns, which allows you to get a couple of the cannonballs to just go just the right amount of distance to hit their mark. My opponent is doing the same, and so this is what happens in these types of naval battles: is you have these long scale engagements, everyone trying to tip the scales, and then at one point everyone kind of says fuck it and you throw everything into the fight. You can see me already knocking out one of the guns. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about my build. My flagship is actually going to be over here. It's the Actif. He's going to be an ironclad steamship. So this guy is very good because he can go upstream. He has huge hull armor and all that stuff. Not much striking power, but anyways, he's very mobile. And I paired him with a task group of two, basically 32 gun frigates, and they're going to be his escorts. All of these guys are meant to be very, very maneuverable, and they're going to be going upwind, going to attack the tail of my opponent's fleet. I'm going and moving upwind. Now I have a couple large ships in my fleet. It's going to be 4 of these 122 gun ships. You can see them there. And then at the end I have 2 of these 74 gun ship of the lines. And my opponent went for a different build. He didn't go for as many heavy ships. He went for a lot more of these lighter ships. So you can see he's 106. Basically I think he went for, yep, all 106 gun ships of the line. So I do have heavier ships. You know, a couple 4 sturdy ones, but he has more of these, you know, all around relatively good ships. But here we go. He's actually ceded the wind side to me, and so now I'm going to be taking full advantage of that, getting some couple shots off at his most exposed ships, and then you can see my general in the distance with his 2 supporting frigates are moving into position. I really do love the cinematics of the naval engagements. I hope they get back to these and get to run them again with newer graphics, because these are just brilliant, so epic, and I really like him. And I guess we'll go ahead and watch which one is the Glorieux. Let's watch him get a couple of volleys off. And I know you can get onto aboard the ship. I think if we cycle through here, no, it doesn't look like doesn't look like I'll be able to command that guy. Anyways, all of my guys are continuing to get some shots off at his vessels as they're trailing away. And the wind, I think, was changing actually during the course of this battle, which was kind of cool. And my opponent was just staying slightly out of range. A couple of my cannonballs are going to be hitting, but it's mostly going to be up to me and my task force here. You can see my frigates already getting some side shots, so they're trying to gain the attention of the Spanish fleet, which has mostly been evading my forces, and they're not quite sure what to do. They haven't taken that many losses. They've kind of, as I said, ceded the initiative in terms of capturing the above the wind. I can't remember, is that windward side, I guess you would call it. But I was able to take this because I chose to take, sans culottes, that's funny that they name a ship that. Anyways, I was able to take this because I have a ironclad steamship that can go upwind, so I was able to get here before my opponent could, and I cut him off. So he decided to turn about and go downwind, but he's staying in a very close cluster. So we'll go ahead and fast forward a little bit now that we've established kind of my dominance of the windward side. And now we're going to slowly start to get into range. You can see me here actively targeting each of my ships. I want to get as much early shots on as possible. Now, it hasn't really done much except for this Soberano, the ship in the back. But once I get in range, these guys are going to start to unleash on me. But at least I've been able to weaken the trailing ship. A couple shots coming across the bow. Oh my god. The volleys coming off of these ships are incredible. Here he goes. Here comes one. So we're just wrecking this ship. He's down to 96 guns. His crew is starting to drop. Now, I wasn't quite in range to try and use grape shot or chain shot, but that's something you can try and do to cripple the mast of vessels at a distance. I probably should have done that. Crippled one of these, let the rest of the fleet get out of the distance, and then start to pick them apart with my more mobile kind of killer squads that you can see upwind that are now going to be able to sail into this. Ships are going to be keeping at a distance because I don't want to engage just yet. I know I have the advantage, and I'm mostly just pummeling the couple ships that get out of range. I have, 4 vessels all shooting at this one guy. He's going to get some parting shots on me. Now, one of these ships actually is going to be rather, yes, significant hull damage. You can see they're out. My opponent's going to do a good job of covering this guy and repairing. He's going to be doing that all throughout the course of the battle, and it's what allows him to keep sailing these ships Now at this point, look how the wind is with me. Now I decide is going to be the time to swing about and engage. My opponent is going to realize that I'm coming at him with all my guns. I'm going to turn a couple Ville de Paris, get some parting shots on him. And here we go. He's going to be running around here. And what he figures he can do is take out these 74 ship of the line guys that I have in the back. He figures he can vastly outnumber them and outgun them, whereas my guys are going to be caught mostly on that side. So a decent strategic move on my opponent's side. I'm going to be swinging into position. Let's go ahead and get the pop the map out here. Oh, doesn't look like you can really zoom in on that map. So that map is rather useless. Continuing to pepper him in the rear. This ship is now getting, a couple shots off from my little itty bitty frigates in the back here. But from a distance, I can't let them get a full broadside from this guy, which is why I had to weaken him down. And now that he's at like 74 ships, or 74 cannons, not even all of them are going to be facing the right way, I feel kind of confident enough to have these two small frigates engage. Now here comes the main line, all of my ships of the line coming in here. And my general, my admiral, the frigate, is actually going to be pushing into this storm of a barrage that's going to be coming at me if I try and get too close to this. Yep, the Carmen is going to be turning around. He's ready to do an about face. That guy had just finished healing up. And actually, I'm going to go ahead and splice this together for a more interesting part of the battle. So I'll get back to you guys once we re-engage in combat. Alright guys, this hasn't been too fast forward, but now my opponent is going to make a pretty big strategic move. He's actually going to decide to charge my line here. I have crossed the T, so to speak, and so this means that he's going to be coming right at me. His entire fleet is charging my guys, and we're going to have to fire these guns as quickly as possible before he can get up close to me. But this is a pretty imposing sight. I mean, look at that. We're going to have to man the guns and just fire straight into these ships, and they are just getting thrashed, absolutely pummeled. Their hull is withering away, and I've got all these lines of vessels just waiting to pick these guys off, but he's going to brave the storm, almost send the this ship to absorb the fire and get the rest of his guys up into close range, and he figures he can take out my two lighter vessels here, and here we go. He's going to start turning her out, going to get a double fire. This is going to be very important. Here he goes. Boom. My ships do not have the hull strength to really hold up to sustain fire like this. So he's going to be braving a lot of this fire. Maybe not the best move, especially when I have the combined might of 3 of these 122 ships of the line firing down on him. And I'm just holding anchor. All of my ships are in a perfect position to get some shots on. And so I figured this is going to be okay for me. He's going to stop point blank and start to reload, repair. However, over in the back, this is one of the ships that I had targeted. My general with his 2 frigates are going to be sort of following this guy around, making sure we can take him out. And my general is now going to swoop around here and try and cut off the Spanish vessels, trying to kill the final vessel over here that's in the midst of repairs. But over here I've been a little bit outnumbered. My 122 gun is continuing to get some shots off, but we're going to have another 106 rate coming in and going to try and finish me off. Meanwhile, I've been a bit distracted trying to finish this guy off, and he is tanking so much damage. I can't quite finish him. My 2 frigates are taking damage on both sides and making sure that the weakened side, I'm going to have to switch this out actually so he doesn't take as much fire, but finally we've been able to route that. And so here comes my general on the ironclad getting some parting shots at this. What's happening over here though is my opponent, actually his penetrating tactics kind of worked. He was able to route one of my 74 rate guns. It's very troublesome for me, and he's going to be going after the other one. This one here is going to get some early shots on me, as well as this guy getting some enfilading fire on the Glorieux, which is going to be troublesome. So even though I thought I had these guys quartered, my opponent is going to somehow weather the storm of all of those shots I had on him. And he's actually going to start picking off some of my men here while I'm still trying to reform. This Santo Domingo is still alive. This ship is still alive, and somehow it looks like he's kind of turned the tables on me, completely isolated a couple of my vessels here, and is starting to rout some of them. My general decided to come out here to try and boost the morale of my guys and also just get in some supporting fire where I could. I'm going to start to turn this guy around, and we're going to have a close call at least, but with the steamship it should be easier to navigate. A couple of the Spanish ships back here took me pretty far down in terms of how many men I have left, or no, yeah, guns are down to about 2/3. This ship is on fire and feel like I'm pretty safe leaving him behind, so I'm going to pull my frigate over here, get some more shots off. However, he is also isolated by these 2 vessels, and once I get in range, it looks like that ship is actually going to give on some pretty damaging fire. So these ships, I should have kept them with my general with the ironclad. They're going to be taking a punishing amount of fire, and I've been actually torn apart by that push my opponent made. You can see how he cut through the middle of my forces, and my frigates seem like they've been routed on this side of the battlefield. Yep, here's the other one who's kind of tanking the fire, the Minotaur, trying to get him out of the line of fire behind the safety of my 122 gun flagships, but he's not going to be able to get out in time. My opponent, meanwhile, is going to be trying to repair up his ships. I do have a lot of vessels in the background, but they are actually starting to be slowly picked around apart. And look at this, now I found myself in the middle. I am totally surrounded by my opponent on all sides here. So he's been doing a good job of making the best of the situation. So I'm going to be trying to target fire on some of his weakened ship. For instance, this guy, I'm really hoping I can take him out. However, I've taken a lot of hull damage. Even though this guy still has 87 guns, 290 men left, he's actually going to start to waver, and that's going to be a big problem for me. My opponent is now going to be focusing fire with, you know, all of his ships here. And the Foudroyant is going to have a hard time sustaining this type of fire, and this is not good because I only have 4 of these capital ships, and if this guy goes down, well, then that's going to be a huge portion of my fleet, and I'm going to start worrying about this. He's starting to get in the red. One of my little Minotaurs has basically routed in the midst of the battle. I'm taking full broadsides, and that's it. He's going to go ahead and hoist the white sail. He's going to start routing. So my opponent is also continuing to pick off some of my lighter ships. All of a sudden, I've had the tables turned on me quite a bit. My little frigate over there, Chlorinde, is going to be actually, I try to repair him, and then he starts routing again. So I've actually lost a substantial number of ships in this follow-up engagement. My opponent has the time to now reform his ships in the distance and start repairs. I still have my ironclad, and what I'm going to be doing is sending him in front of my fleet because I know he can tank a good amount of fire. He's going to give me covering time to try and eliminate some of these vessels who are point blank range trying to repair, so I know I have to buy time, and that's what my ironclad, my general, is going to admirably try and do. Is just sail his way over here, draw the attention of the Spanish ships, ping them, not allow them to do too many repairs, and he's going to be continuing to just go around here, try and shoot some rear shots into these guys as they try and retreat. But finally I've been able to draw fire on this one Spanish ship, Carmen, and he looks like he's probably going to hit the powder keg soon, so it's time to boogie on out of there, and here we go. I'm going to try and reform my guys, get a couple more volleys. I'm trying to get him to explode, make sure he goes down. And there, even my opponent is still shooting at my my Foudroyant, really taking him down, taking advantage of the fact that he's routing and just shooting at him. And this small frigate was not able to hold up by himself, so I really should have kept him in support roles behind the fleet, but he got isolated once my admiral decided to go and tango with the enemy fleet. But now look at this, he's been fully surrounded. Probably not the best move. My opponents are going to take full advantage of this. I'm going to have to rely on the engineering work of my my navy and hope that the iron sides of this ship can hold up, because look how much damage he's taking. I did get a couple nice volleys against this guy. I'm also going to be taking some nice volleys here, but look, 3 ships are going to be trying to bombard me. I'm going to get some point blank shots. My opponent is going to do so as well, but I'm still holding strong. You can see the health is still holding in there. Getting some parting shots on his guys. I was even able to rout one of them, so my general definitely pulling an admirable move, and I'm exposing my left side to the closer target. That's going to keep him alive, and I get some counter volleys. So all the while, I have been reforming my ships. The Espérance in the back was actually repairing, so I'm going to be able to bring him into the fight, and I'm bringing these guys as quickly as possible over here to try and save my general. My general is now going to tuck tail and run. And meanwhile, I'm going to be trying to reform the rest of my fleet here. The Spanish ship is somehow still alive, and I'm going to try and get point blank and shoot it. Another one of my 102 gun ship is trying to repair. I can't, afford to have this guy rout. And there we go. Actually, one of the Spanish ships is going to go down in the proximity of this other ship. I was hoping it would catch fire. That's, however, not going to be the case. But it looks like my general has been able to pull off a pretty valiant escape. However, he does have his green side facing the opponent, the more or the less battered side. You can see this one is torn apart. This side is totally doing okay, so he should be fine to get on out of here and continuing to just do damage to these ships that are trying to repair. Meanwhile, it looks like a couple more of these Spanish vessels might actually blow up. My own ship, the Glorieux, is going to be going over here, trying to make sure these guys do not come back. Meanwhile, the rest of my vessels are going to be pushing up here, and I'm going to send them to engage. This force over here is going to be on cleanup duty, pretty merciless, trying to finish off these guys. I believe I'm going to get another broadside onto the Santo Domingo. Actually, here we go. Let's watch this. Just making sure they're going down. And my general, where is he? Oh, he's done the loop. He's done the Tour de France. And he's going to be coming back around. I'm going to actually use my opponent's ship right here to guard me from the fire. And now it's my opponent who's now going to be himself in this small, encirclement by my own vessels. The Ville de Paris is going to be coming in. He's actually pretty healthy. He's just been a little bit out of the fight, having to do with the winds and the sailing. But now he's actually going to be fully loaded. You can see the guns are ready, they're rolled up, they're ready to go. And now it's just a matter of time before I can get in here with the rest of my fleet. This guy is still... Alright, let's watch some of this. I'm just trying to brutalize these ships. I really was hoping I could get this guy to just absolutely blow up. And I figured I might as well get some parting shots while I'm trying to make it back to the fleet action over here. More of my vessels sailing away. My general has survived. He's now going to be doing an about face, getting some more shots. And now, finally, the Foudroyant, I think he's the guy who had actually routed, taken a severe beating. He actually came back into the fight, was able to heal up a bit, and now he's going to be ready for the engagement. And here we go. I have almost 106, 100, yeah. Devastating amount of guns that I can just bring to bear against these pretty battered Spanish ships, and they still have a good amount of shots. But I'm going to be able to just blow them out of the water, especially when this guy, the Foudroyant, is going to turn around, and that vessel over there, and my 122 gun over there. It's going to be a pretty powerful fleet. So let's watch as some of the incoming shots are going to be making their way over here. My opponent is going to start battering my ship. Should be a counter volley coming in soon. Here it comes. Oh, looks like we chose the wrong target. And it looks like actually the Foudroyant almost has no guns left on this side from the amount of damage he's taken. 47 guns, I'm not quite sure how they're distributed, but it looks like that volley he gave off was really unimpressive, so I'm hoping he has a little bit more to show. And there we go. The hull, even though you can see the patchwork that my opponent did, that's going to bring your health back up, but it's not really going to hold as well as the base hull strength is going to anyways. I'm actually positioning myself in a way that I can cut him off, shoot him from the front, and not allow him to retreat. Getting some more shots with this ship. And I'm doing an about face because I saw one of my sides was getting very battered, so I'm going to go ahead and present my more healthy side. However, that's going to expose me to some rear shots, so overall, a very close battle it's turning out to be, and I'm taking pretty heavy losses. It may be due to the fact that not all of my ships are currently engaged, and here comes a nice flagship. Oh, what are we watching here? Huh. I pressed insert and it took me to some drowning sailors. But anyways, I was trying to follow this guy, but this is the guy I need for the fight. You can see how I patched him up on the side. And he's going to be going straight into the battle, ignoring any shots that might be coming his way, his tattered and almost destroyed sails. He's just going to push through into this because you can see he's only lost about 5 guns. And so if I can bring this guy to bear, that'll absolutely crack the Spanish fleet. The Foudroyant, it seems, has gone ahead and routed for a second time, so I think he sustained too many casualties through that first round. Another of my guys, just Ville de Paris, has taken a pretty severe battering, but still has a Spanish ship, so it's going to be up to who can bring more guns to bear. I have to be very worried about this because not only has one of my 122 rates, retreated over there, if I also lose this one over here, that's going to start to whittle down my numbers, and so, no, that's the Foudroyant, okay. So a couple more of my guys back here are going to be either routed or repairing. This vessel over here, the Ironclad, my general did enough. I didn't want to get him to combat. I couldn't risk losing more ships. And you can see how the decks have been totally smashed and cleared. Even one of the sailors told to wash the blood off the deck. There we go. This is the ship I was talking about that needed to get into the fight. Watch as he just absolutely lays waste to the rear of this Spanish fleet, the Admiral's quarters. Go ahead and fast forward this a little bit. We've been going into this battle a while, and I know these are perhaps not everyone's cup of tea, so we'll go ahead and fast forward. And it looks like one of those shots actually from my own ships over here was able to behead the Admiral. Thank goodness. And there we go. Yep, took out the Admiral. That's going to cause a general collapse of that ship. I'm going to continue to get some volleys off from the rear, and that's going to start to just decimate the morale of the Spanish vessels. They're going to be coming to bear. I'm going to go ahead and accept this challenge and just unleash straight into that ship. And that's it. Despite their spares, there we go. One of the shots has penetrated the hull, and he's going to be sounding the fire bell. This guy should be ready to blow more and more shots. Everyone is pouring in the fire. I think this might even be, yep, my general getting back into the fight. So there you go, Admiral. Very epic stuff. Only a couple of Spanish ships, and it looks like actually Ville de Paris has sustained the combat. He won it out against this guy. He's going to be going off to head off my opponent as he tries to retreat and perhaps repair. Not going to allow that to happen. Let's go ahead and fast forward this as we continue to chase after the Spanish vessels. Looks like my opponent is going to try and do an about face to catch up and fire at my ship. I hope he can take these volleys, and it looks like he can. With the death of the Admiral, my guys have been feeling pretty good. Gonna go right past the Foudroyant, who has surrendered. And another, this guy, the Atalante, is definitely holding my fleet together. And finally, I think the Spanish fleet's morale is finally gonna break. Let's see if we can get another volley with this guy. But yeah, they're on fire. So these Spanish ships went down to the wire, all the way down till they were on fire and basically sinking into the waves. So the tenacity of this fleet was somewhat incredible. But I hope you guys enjoyed. Definitely a very fun battle, a lot of ups and downs, and a really large-scale naval engagement that I hope we can all appreciate. Let's see. Yeah, here's some of the stats. Anyways, I'm going to stop rambling. Hope you guys enjoyed, and let me know if you guys actually do enjoy these sea battles from Napoleon or not. I myself think they're very interesting and epic. They can be a little drawn out, so let me know what you think is appropriate for these types of battles. Anyways, see you all next time. Peace out.